Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the table. You are listening to and you're watching Nerds of the Round Table. I am, of course, Antonio Padilla. With me, as always, is my right-hand man, the Red Dog, Cliff Miller. Cliff, say what's up.
As if. Ugh.
He's
Obscure
doing it
90s
again. He's
reference.
doing it again, ladies and gentlemen. 90s kids club. And I'm sure that's pretty confusing for our guests today, but we'll get to that. Today we have a special episode. We have something in store for you guys. The return of the secret origins here on Nerds of the Round Table. And today we have a full house, the most amount of guests we've ever had on one episode. So no, we're not going to hold back here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Fathom All The Animals. We have Mitchell Johnson, we have John Felix, we have our boy Ian, and Taylor, who you are not seeing, but you will be hearing him. Taylor, say what's up.
Hello, everybody.
There he is. All right. So if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves real quick for everybody, go ahead and you guys can go ahead and do that right now.
Yeah. Well, as it's been said a few times, I'm Mitchell. Just kidding. I'm John. We are Fathom All The Animals. We've been a band for a while. We do music stuff. Sometimes it involves songs. Sometimes it involves, songs. We do stuff like that. Mitch?
Yeah. I'm Mitch. Also in Fathom All The Animals. My introduction. And then down here we have Ian. Take it away, Ian.
I'm Ian. I'm not in Fathom All The Animals. I'm just a random guy. The drummer. And yeah.
Right
I'm
on.
Taylor. I play the bass. I always have to play in center stage though, like I'm the main guy.
Well, you're the one we like to look at, Taylor, so I figure other people
That
would
is
want
true.
to look at you too.
Yeah. I'm the beauty. I'm the
Yeah, you're the
looks.
pretty one.
Oh, and he is the one who is not on camera, so that makes total sense. So
He's too pretty.
So,
Mortals cannot handle the beauty.
so basically, cannot beat you.
100%. Yeah, for sure. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Fathom All The Animals. If you remember, a couple episodes ago, we did feature them on the show, and something I forgot to say then was, Mitch, we actually did feature your music on the show last year.
True.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that was
so-
when my EP came out. You did Venetian Glass, I think, featured on the podcast.
That's right.
That was cool,
Yeah.
man.
My
And
favorite-
yeah, also like we really appreciate the continued support from you and from your podcast. So I'm happy that we're finally
Yeah.
talking to you on it formally.
Yeah, this is gonna be great. I'm excited for this.
Hey, so am I, man. I've been looking forward to this for however long now. So we've been trying to get you guys on the show for a while, and finally it's happening. So for anybody out there who doesn't know, I've sort of spoke about you guys before, but like John, I've mentioned you're from Lincoln, Nebraska. Cliff and I are also originally from Nebraska. Well, Cliff's not originally from Nebraska, but we grew up in Nebraska together. And Mitch, I've talked about, like, you're from Wyoming originally, right?
Yeah, so actually everyone in our band is from Wyoming other than John.
Nice.
I lived in Wyoming for a little bit though. That's where I met these guys.
Yeah.
That's where the
Yeah.
magic started.
So we met in Wyoming and then moved to Colorado as a unit. But
Nice.
yeah, so I kind of grew up knowing. Well, I kind of met Taylor like at the beginning of high school, and then met Ian. Ian and I technically went to the same middle school, but we didn't really know each other. But
Right.
we have like a lot of like mutual friends and such, and then we didn't really formally meet until I think I was probably a senior or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and then and then John moved down to Casper, Wyoming when I was about 17.
Yeah, it was the summer before your senior year. I moved there.
Like right before I graduated. So then,
When everything started out, it was just me and Mitch jamming on acoustic guitars. We wrote one song and thought we were awesome. And we were going around showing everybody, and then we got booked a gig before we were even formally a band. We were just a couple of guys that had one song.
Yeah.
Got thrown in the deep end right away, huh?
Yeah, it was scary, but then we found Ian, and everything was hunky dory. He saved us. Mitch found Ian, actually. Like, it was by a total stroke of luck.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we just told this story, but also, I don't know yet. Like, so John and I were jamming, and then basically I was just gonna go smoke weed with Ian's girlfriend at the time, Maddie, who I'd known for a few years, but I had not ever met Ian. And then we were over there, and then I met Ian, and we kind of got to talking, and I was saying that our band needed a drummer, and he was drumming in a metal band called Zizix at the time. And
Nice.
he kind of instantly was like, "I'll be your drummer." And
You know what? And if we were doing the same thing today, and we approached Ian like, "Hey, we're starting a band," it would be the same energy, just immediately like, "Oh, I'll be your drummer." Like, just
Nice.
just Ian.
Ricky was just eager to like play, so yeah.
Right
then
on.
we practiced like one time together, and then decided to carry on like that. And then we played our first show like a week later out at an airport.
Yep.
There were like 10 people.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to start somewhere, right?
We did 2 really cringy covers. So.
Yeah, I don't even want to mention what covers they were, because
Oh, well, now you have to tell us, man. Like,
oh man, do we have
It was
to say it?
Santeria and Mr. Brightside.
God.
nice.
Yeah.
Cliff laughed because he knows. So one of the things Cliff and I never really talk about on this show is he and I used to make music together as well, and like started learning guitar around the same time, and yeah, so we kind of know like starting out and doing covers, especially Mr. Brightside. I think that's a rite of passage for everybody who gets into music.
I think so too.
Like you have to do your Mr. Brightside cover at some point or another. So
Right.
Yeah.
Don't
What
worry.
about the Killers had to play to
right.
They covered Mr. Brightside. What are you talking about?
They probably covered Santeria.
Probably. So yeah, so Cliff, you know, since like you're getting to know the boys here for the first time live on air, like if you have any questions for them, go ahead and
Yeah, so I mean, you guys all said like you guys are interested. I know you guys just said from Wyoming. What part of Wyoming were you guys originally from?
We were for Wyoming, which is technically, I think, the biggest city in Wyoming, but the capital is actually Cheyenne. Casper is like, have you ever been anywhere in Wyoming?
Yeah, so actually I'm from Scottsbluff. Antonio and I were from Scottsbluff, Nebraska. So we're familiar with Cheyenne, Casper, and Torrington, and Fort Lingle, and we can go on because
Okay.
all those places.
Yeah, I have family in Scottsbluff actually, but yeah. So Casper's like 2 hours from Laramie or so, and then like so from the University of Wyoming, and then about 3.5 hours from 3 hours from Cheyenne. Is that right?
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, I don't think I ever told you this, but I actually lived in Casper, like from like 2007 2008.
Really?
And yeah.
I'm
So
sorry. Whoa.
there you go, man. Yeah.
Do you have any
Oh,
landmarks
that's
that come to mind from your time in Casper?
Not really. I mean, like just from like hung out at the mall there a lot. Like that's
Yeah.
really all I did.
That's a sad place now. The Casper
Is it?
Mall.
I haven't been there in a while, so
Like malls in general are like going out of business, it seems, but that mall is especially just depressing to be inside. And like it used to be like this pretty cool food court with like Aladdin's Castle arcade. And
Oh,
shit.
dude, the fucking arcade, man.
And now you go there and like half the food court is like a Verizon wireless store. And then like half the stores are just empty and like abandoned. And oh man, it's if you ever want to feel like you're in like a post-apocalyptic landscape, just go to the Casper, Wyoming shopping mall.
or you could go to the Scottsbluff, Nebraska mall. Like that place is
Yeah, I was
even
gonna
I'm
worse.
sure that's also fucked up.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I was like, welcome to Monument Mall, where it's like there's just one lane. It's like all the way down and all the way back. We don't even have like they thought about putting a second floor in, and then everybody was just like, why? And then everybody was like, yeah, no, we shouldn't do that. It's a terrible idea. It's a waste of money. And then
For real.
like half the stores closed down. And I think one store opened back up and it was like, hey, we have an antique store. I'm like, why? Oh, this whole place is antique. It's the same thing.
That was the whole thing.
An antique store is a brave move for a shopping mall that's supposed to be kind of like modern.
It's supposed to be hip with the young people.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
What do
You
young?
don't have a
Well, I guess
comic book store?
hipsters like antiques.
Yeah, but they don't like malls.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so it's kind of complicated. It's a conundrum.
So
for
what
sure.
inspired you guys to like get together? Well, like, where's your music like drive from? Like, everybody has like those artists that they like feature. I know you guys mentioned Sublime and the Killers, and like, what are some of your other like inspirations to help like build your guys' catalog?
Yeah. Well, I think starting out, it was like weird finding our middle ground because, I mean, like I said, Ian was in like a metal band, and I think Ian's favorite music still usually revolves around the metal circles.
Right on.
And then John's kind of, John and I would say had a lot of middle ground, and Taylor too, as far as like a long
Early 2000s pop punk, man.
like pop punk, emo,
Yeah.
alternative stuff like that. So I think like one band that comes to mind that I think like we all like probably is like the Arctic Monkeys or like the Front Bottoms. Not so much like the Front Bottoms anymore, but I mean like there was definitely an era in time where I feel like that was the middle ground for us.
Yeah, pre-fueled by ramen front bottoms was some legit shit.
And then like but I think that like our ultimate like middle ground ultimately like kind of became like I mean like what it is now. I think it does have a lot of pop punk influence and like emo influence, but then with like I don't know, like Ian's like metal influence of drumming, which kind of like takes it up a level, you know. So it's not just like this boring like power chordy like Blink-182 shit. No offense, Blink-182. And then so I don't know. I think like kind of the middle ground now sits like somewhere in like the emo alternative pop punk space, but not just like stereotypically. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, my wife says that we fall into a category called soda punk, which is pop punk but not obnoxious. So I'll take that all day.
You know, I think that's pretty accurate, you know, all things considered. And I like I said, like I listened to the new track you guys put out and I was like, this is great. This is fantastic. I mean, obviously because I wanted to feature it on the show and help you guys out. So yeah, it's definitely I can hear all of those influences on your music for sure. Like that's definitely where I'd put you guys. Ian, I want to ask you something because they keep talking about how you played in a metal band before you joined up with these guys. So what's that like for you going from like playing metal music, which is sort of a far cry from what you guys are doing now? And again, I don't mean that in a bad way, but having to transition, like what was that like for you?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think, obviously metal is my passion, like as far as listening music. And when I do my solo compositions, there's way more metal influence, but I never really feel like I have to tone down at all. Like I'm usually playing well within my, like my intensity level, and it seems to fit. And I think the most important part of that is the chemistry that I have with these guys because, yeah, just like that we were playing at all, that we could get together at all from all of our different music backgrounds. That in itself was really special. So yeah, it never feels like too far outside my wheelhouse.
Right on.
And
Right
and
on.
I still get to throw some double bass spice in there once in a while. So
Oh yes, he does.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. So like what like when you do listen to, because I'm just like I said, like I'm getting to know you, like I know Mitch and John pretty well, But like, so what do you listen to, man? Like, what's your go-to metal band?
I guess my go-to metal band is Fallujah. Really into like the whole atmospheric,
Yeah.
just fucking like intense.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I love Fallujah. Andrew Baird is one of my favorite drummers of all time. Um, I like the Black Dahlia Murder. A lot of old Whitechapel. I haven't really listened to a lot of their new stuff. It's hard to think of all the ones that come to mind, but like Lamb of God.
Yeah.
It's the list goes on.
Right on. Right on. That's cool, man. Very cool. Very cool. So yeah. So like, I might like bomb in and check in on Ian every now and then because it's and Taylor. Taylor. He's over there as well. So yeah, Taylor. Why don't we hear from you real quick? Like, how'd you get involved with Fathom All the Animals, and like, what was sort of your, like what, like Cliff was saying, what sort of motivated you and pushed you?
So I, like Mitch said, we were friends like in high
Mhm.
school and good friends after high school. And I actually left Casper to go to the University of Wyoming after I graduated. But I had met John before then, and so I knew that they were jamming and everything, and I sort of knew the band was forming. And, uh, you know, I kind of always had my line out there, like, "Hey, I'm willing to jam."
Nice.
When it came
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
And me and Mitch used to jam when we hung out back in high school and stuff. So
Yeah.
I remember Mitch specifically saying he wanted Taylor in the band somehow, and he was like a specific choice for us. Like,
Well, yeah, because like Taylor was like pretty much my best friend in Casper at that point, and also like he said, we jammed quite a bit. And that was like a pretty big part of our friendship, I think. And then like Taylor and I found a bunch of like middle ground in music that were like weird, kind of obscure bands that like you don't think anybody else really listens to, which
yeah,
was cool. And so like I don't know, like Taylor was the first
Can you
person
give
I
us?
ever met who like extensively also listened to the Bloodhound Gang.
yep.
And like
Cliff was also into the Bloodhound Gang quite a bit back in the day, so
There
they're
is
like the most
there is no
underrated.
was. There is still.
yeah, he's still pretty hardcore. He's pretty ride or die. So
Good.
They're not appreciated enough outside of the bad touch.
that's true. That is very
So Cliff
true.
can join the band too, as long as he has listened to a lot of the Bloodhound Gang.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to the show, that siren is on our end, so don't get alarmed, especially if you're listening to this in your car. Sorry, I had to I need to let people know
Oh.
that, otherwise they freak out. So
Yeah, no, that's super cool of you. That always happens when I'm listening to shit and the siren goes off and I'm like, oh god, am I getting pulled over?
Good looking out.
Yeah.
Good looking out.
exactly, that's why we do it. So
Nice.
yeah, we just played a show in Casper on Halloween, and on the drive back down to Denver, I had my son in the car and my wife Jade, and we were driving back, and she was playing cartoons for him because he was kind of fussing a little bit. He's about 8 months old, so he's fussing in the car, normal. And she was playing cartoons, and there were sirens, and I saw the flashing lights in my rear view from her phone, and I like heard the sirens from the cartoon, and I like started slowing down, and she was just like, "What are you doing?" And it freaked me out. I understand completely. Thank you for doing that.
It's like warm flashbacks.
yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah. So John, how is the kid, man?
oh man, it's awesome. Being a dad is straight up the best thing that has ever happened to me. Like hands
Nice.
down the best. It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
He's learning so much every single day, and I get to watch him like figure shit out. Like I get to watch the cogs turn in his head. Like he'll be
Mhm.
staring at something and you can see that he's figuring out what's going on, and it's just so cool watching him learn. He's so smart.
Yeah, it really is. Cliff, did you have anything you wanted to?
How old is your son again?
He's about 8 months old.
Yeah,
Okay.
not even.
Okay. Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember them days. I remember them
Yeah.
days because then then they start talking and then you're just like, I just want you to shut up.
And he knows a couple words right now, and when he gets saying them, he like repeats the same word like 30 times. Like the Korean word for mom is 엄마, so he calls my wife 엄마, and he'll go but for like 5 minutes. It goes
Yeah.
on.
That's
He's really
awesome.
Yeah, if you guys stay on this the call long enough, Cliff's daughter might make an appearance. She's known to like barge in every once in a while, so so we might see her. But yeah, so oh man, yeah, this conversation's all over the place. I'm trying to gather my thoughts here. So
Nah,
or
just let it go.
straight up, yeah. I don't know, Cliff. Did you what else do you want to ask the boys?
So I heard you guys' album, right? Or you guys' the song that you guys released on YouTube with Christmas. My question really is like, so are you guys currently like, are you guys working on your EP? Like, when's your next tour dates? Are you guys planning on going on tour? Like, are you gonna come to the East Coast so I can meet you guys in Baltimore? Like, what's your guys' plans?
Word, yeah. So we actually just we recorded a full album basically. So that single that we released last month, Disappointing Christmas, was the first single from that album. And the original plan pre-COVID was to set up some tour dates and release the album and tour on it a little bit. But then after everything with COVID and we've been sitting on the album for so long, we decided to just kind of, start rolling out some singles and just putting it out there, because it's like there is no foreseeable end to any of this, and there is no like determined date of when touring will be available again or when the world will be normal again. So it's like, so we do have a full album planned, but we are probably going to keep releasing a few more singles, just for content purposes and engagement purposes. Because I mean, definitely in the modern world of music, like if you just release like the whole album at once, then unless you're a very well established band, then it's just kind of like falling on deaf ears almost. So we'll probably just keep releasing singles for now, and we don't have a date right now for when the next one will drop, but it is pending. Yeah,
Soon.
it's very soon.
Soon.
Awesome.
All right. Well, we will definitely keep our viewers and our listeners informed on that.
I was just saying that, like, even though I'm in the band, I'm super excited to release our album. Like, I'm getting antsy for us just sitting on it. I've been listening to it myself all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. I really do. Go ahead, Cliff. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say like you should be excited because I mean, I know like when I recorded my first album with Antonio and a couple of our friends, yeah, it was you get so hyped because you're like, I just want other people to feel what I'm feeling, and like I get that feeling. Totally understand like where you guys are coming from with that.
Exactly.
Especially when you know the music is good and like you just want to share it with people. Like that's one of the best feelings in the world. And like I totally get what you're saying, Taylor, because like there was one album I recorded, and like John and Mitch have heard this album.
Yeah.
But I remember,
Mhm.
yeah, thank you. But I remember after I recorded that, I sort of had the same thing where it's like I would just listen to it over and over and over again, and I always felt weird about doing that because I was like, that's my music. Like, should I should I be listening to it on loop like this? But it is that feeling where you're just like, well, it's good. You know, like who cares if I made it? It's good. Like, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. You should feel good about repping your own product for sure.
Honestly,
Or,
when I listen to our
casually
stuff,
listening.
oh, sorry, what?
Oh, you're good.
When I listen to our stuff, I actually listen to the versions of the tracks with no vocals, except for Dominatrix, which is the song that Mitch has lead vocals on. But I don't like listening to my vocals all the time, so I listen to the instrumentals like all the time. But
Yeah,
I think that is why.
Oh, go ahead, Mitch. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say I think that is why the release has been so slow. From like when we recorded and everything too, though, is just the fact that I think we all do, like we are all very like proud of it genuinely, and we all do recognize it as our best work yet, and I think like we all just kind of have a fear of like releasing it and it not getting the attention that we hope for, or not getting, you know, the listeners or viewers that we think
Yeah.
that has the potential to get. And so we were kind of trying to figure out the right way to do it for a while, and then it kind of turned into, you know, it's like right way or wrong way, like we just got to release it and we got to start putting this stuff out there, because, you know, there's never like a proper amount that you can plan for something like that. It's just like
Yeah.
people are either going to respond to it or not. And so I think that there just is like that kind of residual fear that like lingers, where, you know, it almost makes you hesitant to put something out if you are very proud of it, because you're just like, you know, you don't want to be deflated if it doesn't get the attention that you expect or something, you know?
Yeah, I understand that too. Like the initial fear of like letting something go, and then you never know like when you release something, because sometimes like what happens is like it starts off hot but it goes flat, but then like a couple weeks later or a month later, all of a sudden it just starts picking steam up from like out of nowhere, and it's all because like that one kid heard it in the background of like this other dude's video, and he wanted to see what was going on, and then all of a sudden like it just erupts. So
Yeah.
it's like there is that initial fear. Like I understand where that comes from, because I know even for me, just like on a branding side, right outside of this, I'm a pro wrestler, and like the fear of like putting my stuff out there, because I'm like, I don't want my friends to judge me and be like, dude, you suck, you're like 0-5 in your wrestling matches and I'm not supporting you. I'm like, well, wait a minute, man, like just just hold on to the wave, man, it'll be okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I
It's
get
true.
it.
It's true. Yeah, for the boys in the band, if you don't like, I don't think you guys know, but Cliff, yeah, he's a wrestler, and so yeah, he understands like, you know, branding and putting himself out there. Like he's got merch and everything. Cliff, show him the hat. Show him the hat.
Oh, this one's
That's
all
his.
like nasty
Yeah,
and stuff.
Red Dogs, huh?
that's his
Oh,
wrestling persona, Red Dog, and
that's
yeah. So it's like, you know, Cliff totally understands what it's like to chase your dream and go out there and like you said, like the fear of like people not responding or whatever and whatnot. And it's just, yeah, it's like I think that's sort of universal regardless of what your art is, you know, whether it's musician, whether you're a musician, you're a writer, or, you know, this is something that Cliff and I have spoken about with a previous guest on this show, international best-selling author Ella Dominguez. But like we always talk about, like, you know, it's the fear of like when you pour so much passion and all your time and effort into something, and you're like, I know this is good, and then you put it out there in the world and somebody does, you know, people just for whatever reason don't gravitate towards it. There's nothing more disappointing than that, you know. So it's, yeah. And then
Yeah.
oh, go ahead,
Oh,
no,
I
you
was
go ahead, man.
um I was just gonna add that like I think like no matter what your medium is or the content you do, like you guys even know from doing your podcast, Cliff knows from his
Mhm.
wrestling, you guys both know from music you've done. It's like people like have this argument that, you know, it's easier than ever basically to succeed in any sort of entrepreneurial quest because of the internet, which I think for music and such would have been true around like the MySpace era, but now it's so saturated and there's so many people trying to go to the market with their art or their idea or their business that it's actually a lot harder in my opinion, and for the fact that everything relies on streaming sales and shit now, and you guys both know this. It's like now in this era, like when you're the artist, like you're now responsible for branding and artwork and, you know, social media updating, constantly creating content.
Yeah,
So it becomes so much more than just like making good music together or something. Like it's
yeah,
almost like a band now. It's like making good music is just like the entry level like requirement to even participate, and then
yeah.
like the business side of it can be so like engulfing and so like overwhelming that I don't know. I don't think it's for everybody now. Like,
Yeah, honestly, even like we've experienced the four of us like with dealing with the business end of things, where like we'll like one of us will have a period where say there's like a week where like one of us, like say Mitch or me, will be just burnt out for like a week and not be able to like focus on the business end of things, or like but we always find our way back into it because we just get that spark again always. But the rest of the band is always very good about recognizing, oh, this person has been putting in a lot right now, they need a break, let's the rest of us pick up slack for a minute and like can keep things going and make sure we're constantly doing something that way. And like I don't know, like we have a good system of making sure no one's just getting totally burned out completely on it. We're constantly able to have some focus within the group.
I don't know about all that, but
I feel like that there's constantly one of us that's like doing something.
yeah.
Also, Ian gets
Usually Mitch.
for his guest that showed up on camera right now. So
So lovely when I'm talking to people on the phone.
that is definitely going to help us in the ratings for sure. So
Which one is that? Ian?
That's Yuri.
Yuri, nice, very nice. No, but to get back to what, it's especially because you're talking about like, I agree. There was probably a window in the internet age where it was really easy to get exposure and whatnot, but I feel like that time has gone by, and especially now, and again, we've spoken to Ella about this, is like in the modern age, like, in the last 10 years or so, you now have to contend with the ever-changing, like, dreadful algorithm on all social media. So you've got to really fight for whether or not people are going to see you. You've got to fight for your reach, and that is really draining and really...
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, the Facebook algorithm's gotten to the point where, like, we have to fight for our own fan base at this point. Like, our own likes and followers and fans, like, don't even see our content because they, like, so hard try to incentivize you to pay for boosting.
Yeah.
And it's, like, it's honestly pretty ridiculous, man. Like the rat race of social media exposure is just, like, disgusting. And, like, there was like some sort of like ease to back in the day when you could press an album and put CDs in all of your local CD stores, and when that was the way that people would get their music, then at least every now and then some people that don't know about your music would be picking it up or buying it, or you wouldn't have a direct amount of revenue coming straight to you. But then like the Spotify thing, YouTube, whatever, like you're just getting a fraction of a cent for every play.
Yeah.
Really, like when you look at like how many streams it takes to add up and then divide that by 4 members of a band, it's like all the money now in bands is just touring and merch. And
it really is. Yeah. And it's funny because you brought up like pressing a CD and stuff. That's funny because that's how old Cliff and I are. Like we actually did that back in the day. We actually pressed like CDs, and like we would. Cliff just went to it. He's gonna go pull one up. Like watch for it.
Oh no. No. I'm not gonna go grab my CD.
I thought that's what he was doing too. I was like, oh shit.
I have so many. In this closet right here, there are so many CDs. It is insane to even think about like that. I'm gonna go through and like pull them out and then think about like where did I put that one album that we stickered like years ago.
Yeah.
That was so long ago, but I remember like when we did that. You remember we got the boxes, Cliff? We got the boxes full of them. Like that was insane. Like that felt. See, like just talking about it right now, it's gonna take me back. But it's like, yeah, man, that felt like we were really doing something,
Yeah.
But
it's some sort of like empirical like satisfaction from stuff like that. Where like I feel like now that everything's digitized, it's like a little like disconnected from, I guess, like the physical effort you put into it, and then like it all just like funnels into like this 10 seconds where you like digitally upload your song, and you're like, all right, like there goes like that like 1,000 hours of work or whatever that went into that song with writing and practicing and recording and everything. It's like it does take away from it that there is no like, I guess, physical representation of your music sometimes, if that makes sense at all.
Yeah, having something tangible can feel really good. Like even when we like were going first like doing merch and we didn't order shirts, we made our own shirts the first time around. Even just having those shirts, I kept mine and I will keep mine forever because just having that was like, oh shit, we're like we're doing something. Like this is we're making a move, you know? Like that was like one of the first times I felt like, oh shit, this is serious. We have shirts. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There is something gratifying about that, you know, especially when you're first starting out. So yeah, definitely. I totally understand all that. Cliff.
Man, I'm just thinking about like on the branding side of like I remember when we pressed all those CDs, and I remember like we made like 15 albums, I remember, and I remember giving them all away to people because I was like, yo, I just want you to listen to this album, tell me what you guys think, and get notes back. And then I remember giving away those albums and never getting any notes back. It was terrible.
That
It was a
sounds
horrible
like how it
decision.
would happen.
Oh man, that's like the only thing worse than that is when you get back like a 1 to 2 word response on how it is. We're like,
It's
you're
good.
like, what do you think of this? And it's good.
It's
Good
fine.
job.
Yeah.
It's cool, man.
I liked it.
I
Yeah.
listened to it some more. Like I remember I was like, wow, that was crazy. And then I remember like and it's funny you guys are talking about the branding side because like that's actually one of like the hardest things for me like right now is like getting out there and like meeting people. Like I have my own merch store too. Like you can like literally hop online and check it out and like buy shirts from it. But like physically like having like merchandise in your hand, there's nothing better than having your own first press t-shirt, like your t-shirt that you made yourself. Cause then like it kind of validates like all the work that you put in, like just in that one shirt. And that's why like I find it funny you're like, I'm gonna hold on to this one t-shirt for the rest of my life because like you're like, yeah, I made this with my own two hands. And like I think about like the marketing side and how hard it is and still like I'm grinding and like I always have to keep on top with everything on the social media side. So it's funny you guys talk about like just Facebook, right? But like I know like going on Twitter and learning that algorithm, going on TikTok and trying to learn that algorithm, like IG. So like doing the whole work, like just on the marketing side, it's crazy. But like, what do you guys do to like help try to make yourself separate from everybody else that's coming on or like coming up through the ranks like you guys are?
Real quick, before you guys get into your answer, I want to shout out Cliff for his Herculean efforts on TikTok, because have you rounded 8K yet, Cliff?
Yeah, I'm actually 8.2 now.
Yeah, 8,000 followers over there. So
Hell
he
yeah.
knows
Work
he
on
knows what it's like to
TikTok.
put the grind in on social media for real. So, but yeah, go ahead and yeah, you guys.
Well, I just want to brag about this guy right here because he came up with a brilliant idea that set us aside from other people. Because
Hmm.
you know how it's typically posts and like just like a text post that's just like, hey, what's going on, blah, like addressing people, or it's a meme, or it's like a show poster. Mitch had this bright idea of making a commercial for us.
Well, I just want to say that like I was watching a bunch of like content on like, all these formulas for like what you should do when you're making your release and everything.
Right.
This guy meant more metaphorically, like you need to create like a recap basically for your band because some people joining in now don't have all of that like inferred like kind of experience on you and like they don't actually like know your journey or know anything about you. And he meant it in a pretty metaphorical sense, but then like going too much by that formula shit can be like, I don't know, kind of dehumanizing or
Yeah,
something.
it's
and
like
just
demoralizing
feels really
to do.
robotic to like
Yeah.
follow all of the social media tricks to a T. And so we did like a more literal sense of that, and we made like a literal like animated recap video for our band, like kind of the full history of our band up until the point where we're doing this new release. And it was kind of like the best example I've ever seen of all of us like using like kind of outside talents or like I guess like non-band related kind of skills and like highlighting everybody's strengths all at once, because it was like I drew animation for it and then John did voice acting for it, which is like his secret passion.
Yeah, my secret dream is to be a voice actor.
And then Ian made like a really spicy. Like I was like, do you think you could make? Because Ian makes how would you describe it? Like 8-bit chiptune music, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a solo project. It's called Onus Abai.
Super badass.
It's really badass, and that's what he's talking about. Where like a lot of his metal progressions and everything kind of lived through Onus Abai.
I would definitely be checking that out. So
yeah, like it's very good shit. Like he needs to be drafted by multiple video game companies. And
yeah, to create music for video game companies, he just needs.
Nice.
Yeah, video game companies hire Ian.
But so I asked Ian, I was like, do you think you could make like a recap, like animation style song for like this video? You know, like think recap music, blah blah blah. And like he just immediately was like, yeah, like. And I was like hoping he like understood what I meant, and then like in like 24 hours he like created this like masterpiece that was just exactly what we were looking for. It was perfect. So it was just like we kind of culminated all of these things together and made this recap video. And even though it's like, I mean, I guess that's like an example of, though, I guess like something that we would do to like set ourselves apart. Because I think that we're as guilty as anyone of like trying to find the right way to do things and trying to like hit the right algorithms and, you know, finding our demographic and, you know, going by the formula. But I also think that like you get pretty jaded on going directly by the formula pretty easily. And
oh yeah.
I think that we like always try to keep in mind that like, you know, we can't just like sell a formula to people that they're already being sold all the time. But like people hopefully will actually just resonate with like the kind of humor that we like.
Yeah,
and
our
like,
personality.
Yeah, like our rapport with each other or banter or whatever.
Yeah, I agree. That's definitely that is definitely one way to approach it for sure. Because yeah, you guys are right. Like if you're just doing by the book stuff, like that's just gonna drive you crazy. So hats off to you. I am gonna, for real, Ian, I said it, but like I'm definitely gonna check out that stuff because I dig chiptune stuff. So
Thank you. I actually just, I guess some shameless self-promotion. I just released a song on Halloween called Photosphere, and it's on Bandcamp, but you can like find it on my Facebook and stuff too.
I've already listened to it like 30 times. It's in my top 3 favorite Ian songs of all time, and it's slowly approaching number 1.
That's a pretty good endorsement right there. So no, for real, I will be checking that out. So that's cool, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's awesome to know that you do that because, like I said, I am a big fan of that style of music. So for sure, I think our original theme song when we were just an audio podcast was by Anna Managuchi. But
Nice.
we had to stop using that when we transitioned to video. So
because it's licensed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but who knows, man? Maybe I'll hire you to compose us a new theme song. So
Hey, yeah, let's talk about it.
hey, for sure, we'll definitely talk about that after the show. But
Listen, I'm in the thing too. It's funny that we're all like talking about like different ways and passions and crossovers and collaborations because like even like in the wrestling industry, like you can't use people's music because obviously it's copyrighted, and like even if you got permission, sometimes YouTube can be a jerk and just pull your stuff off. So like, hey man, like I'm not gonna lie, I'm just gonna shoot my shot. But hey, yo, I'm in the market of a new theme song. So if you guys want to collaborate, we definitely can put some stuff together, and I could definitely cross-brand it with the other podcasts that I do.
Dude, hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
that's what we do on this show, man. We support other struggling artists out there. Not that you guys are struggling, although
we are.
Yeah.
The struggle is real.
but that's what we do, man. If we can help other people out there, and especially like, you know, like I said, John, Mitch, you guys are my boys. Of course, I'm going to support you as much as I can. And like I said, like Ian, Taylor, you know, if we can help you guys out, we're going to do the same. So,
well, yeah, that's what I like about like even just that you had us on, or like that you've had our music on before, and like what Cliff was just saying is that like I think that is one of the best things about having like somewhat of like an artistic trade, like a podcast or whatever kind of platform you have, is that I feel like one of the best uses is like always being able to kind of use it as a trade with other people, kind of have this like artist style commune where like, you know, you could do some music production for someone and they could shoot a video for you, or, you know, have someone on their podcast and then, you know, make them a theme song or whatever. Like, I think that's one of the coolest, like, actual, like, real life communal benefits
Yeah,
of being kind of in this space at all.
for sure, for sure. And like, you know, I kind of brag about it a lot, but it's like, you know, I have a lot of really cool friends, whether it's musicians like yourselves, best-selling authors, and, you know, an actress slash model, you know, and my best friend over here and my co-host is a wrestler. So it's like, you know, it's weird, it's wild. I would have never thought that this would be my life, but you know, here we are. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, man, I agree, Mitch. Like that's one of the coolest things about. It's definitely one of the coolest things about what I do is like I meet people like you guys, and you know, it's make these friendships, and you know, it's all good. So
Absolutely, man.
all right, so I had a question and I lost it. So Cliff,
That's the story of my life right there.
yeah, it was a good one too. It was a good one, and it just gone. Cliff, I'm gonna throw it over to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, hey, so the question I really was going to think about too is like if you guys could either, who is your guys' dream band that you would want to tour with?
Oh God.
I think it's probably different for all
Yeah,
of
it's
us.
different for
honestly.
all of us.
Yeah,
Great.
All right.
I expect to hear 4 answers. That's what I expect to hear.
exactly. Everybody answer the question.
To be fair,
Um,
3 because I know, you know, Taylor's on the same wavelength too, so.
Yeah.
Let's let Taylor go first. He hasn't talked for a while.
Oh boy. Oh, I don't know. I'd say the Front Bottoms. I feel like we'd be a good supporting act for the Front Bottoms.
I
That
would
was
agree.
fun.
I could agree
Good
there.
choice.
Yeah. Ian?
Probably I'd have to go with Chan, probably. I think it'd be super cool to open for Chan.
Dude, it'd be so cool to open for Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe for you guys, because you guys don't play lead guitar, and I'd just look like a fucking imposter opening for Sean. They'd be like, why does that guy even play?
Do they have
man.
to still be a band? Does my answer
No.
have to be a band that's okay?
Um,
Modern
definitely.
baseball.
Oh, man.
Hands down modern baseball.
Nice.
I'd feel a little bit guilty if I didn't say this, even though there's probably bands I prefer now, but if it's any band, then probably the White Stripes.
Nice.
Because they're kind of like my lifelong like go-to. I'd love to say brand new, but like I don't think they'll ever play again.
Yeah, not ever.
Jesse Lacey was accused of some pretty bad stuff, so I don't know if it'd be a good branding move to.
Open for
Yeah,
them.
probably not.
Probably a bad idea.
It would definitely lend itself to the stereotype of pop punk bands that prey on minors. So that's probably up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like modern baseball or the Front Bottoms, I think would be really sick.
Yeah, those are pretty good answers. I like that. I'm still just trying to remember the question that I had, and it's not coming to me. So
Do you guys have a dream location that you guys want to play?
Oh, dream location.
Ooh, that's cool. That's a cool question.
Madison Square Garden.
Wembley.
Ooh, I do. I
Wembley's
think
good.
Meow Wolf would be sick. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Meow Wolf, but
I have not, but
they're building one in Denver, but it's like in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and it's kind of
Nice.
like it's like a I don't even know how to explain it ever, but it's like a big
It's like interactive museum.
art museum almost, but it's like you feel like you're inside of a video game because you're kind of like solving this plot as you're going through this like wicked like EDM looking psychedelic space. It's like you can pick up journals and rooms and shit, and it has like clues about what you're looking for. But they actually like do have bands play there now, and it's always like cool acts that aren't like super huge. It seems like, but
That's
like,
awesome.
yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
know.
Oh,
Like,
Wembley,
that's cool.
hands down.
Wembley?
Yeah.
What's Wembley?
It's a stadium in England.
You don't know Wembley? Come
That's
on.
not, dude. I'm sorry.
SummerSlam was there in 1992 for the WWF, man. It was like one of the largest like show outs for like fans just in general for like a pay-per-view for WWF, like a live performance. It's crazy. It's like so loud.
Yeah. That's Cliff's wrestling nerd coming out. So
It is 100%.
Oh yeah.
Drop some knowledge.
yeah.
Ian, where do you want to play?
You know, I've played Guitar Hero for like most of my life, and I always thought it was super cool when you could go to Stonehenge. I think that's probably my pick.
Yeah. I don't think anybody has a better answer than that. But Taylor, feel free to try and beat that
You
one.
know, I've been trying. I've been trying to think of a place this whole time. I'm really content playing anywhere. I'll play out in an open field. I don't know.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I have no dream location.
Would you play at Carhenge?
What the?
Carhenge.
Carhenge is a place in Nebraska where they have a scale Stonehenge built that's made entirely of cars.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah. I'll play show
Yeah.
there. I'll play show
It's
anyway.
like one of the only like tourist attractions in western Nebraska. So
I think a pretty like
Not gonna
realistic.
front.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say I think a pretty like realistic goal that would be really cool is to like play at Red Rocks though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be super dope.
hmm
Just because I feel like their sound guy probably knows what the fuck is up. Like,
Oh,
I
for
don't
sure.
think you have problems with your monitor at Red Rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of all the things that 2020 took from us, I had plans to go see so many concerts at Red Rocks this year and just nothing.
Well, Mitch, it's funny you ask who would have monitor problems at Red Rocks, because if it would be anyone in the whole world, it would be you.
It'd for sure be me.
It would be you.
And the sound guy's like always in a bad mood when
Yep.
shit's not. You're like, hey man, I can't hear anything out of here. And he's like,
My job.
Like
are you
like
kidding me?
half a millimeter.
yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
dude. It's just pretty important. Well,
Oh man, yeah, that would happen to you, Mitch. So
It happens pretty much every show we play. Like, I'd say maybe every fifth show we play, Mitch doesn't have a monitor problem. But 4 out of 5 shows, there's a monitor problem for Mitch.
nice.
It's been like that since day one.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
I've gotten to where I almost prefer rooms that are like small enough where you don't even need monitors. You just like blast sound like throughout the whole room. So I'm like, well, at least I know that I can hear myself play. So I know what I'm playing.
Yeah. Super old school, like low tech.
Yeah. I think that'd be the way, like the dream gig would be like play something like Red Rocks, but like how they did in the 80s where you just have like a wall of
Yeah.
and you're like actively going deaf the whole time.
Yeah.
That actually sounds terrible.
No, let's do it. Let's when we tour have walls of amps, but
You're-
only have one of them on.
For a week after the show. Like
It's just like a
It just looks,
visual
yeah,
thing.
it just looks like there's a ton of amps. There's not.
Well, then we'll just buy like a stack of amp like wallpaper.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we can get some cardboard cutouts.
Yeah.
It falls over mid-show and everyone's like,
That-
"What the
That sounds more within our budget.
fuck?" Yeah,
yeah.
20-foot tall cardboard cutouts of 20 feet of amps.
I was hearing like this podcast recently with Tommy Lee from Motley Crue, and they used to, like they still do, but they've done a lot of crazy shit at their live shows or whatever. And he was telling this story where they started getting into like what do you call that? Like
Pyrotechnics.
Pyrotechnics.
And they had like these harnesses that would basically like it'd make this big explosion and pull them all off stage. So it'd be like the effect that like the explosion happened and they like disappear like Batman or something. And but then like there was this show I guess where like the pyros went off and then everyone got pulled off but his harness didn't work and so he just like took some like high level fireworks to the face basically. Got like second degree burns and shit. It's like,
Yeah, I think I've heard that story. Yeah.
Yep, I definitely have.
Yeah. But like you hear a lot of those like horror stories from like remember something like that happened to James Hetfield, where he was just like in the way of some pyrotechnic that went off and he like got like third-degree burns all over his body. That's nightmare stuff, man. Like
yeah, dude, like you're like spending thousands of dollars to look slightly cooler and then you might like never look the same again actually.
yeah. I don't think it's worth it. But that's just me, so
Yeah. To have pig skin on your face forever, but it looked
You get the Prince Zuko style.
oh yeah.
there you go. Great reference. Taylor.
Thank you.
Swag.
I'm going to give you 5 points for that one. So,
Yes.
oh man. So yeah, it's super crazy. Like we've been all over the place in this conversation, but I love it. I love when conversations do that, especially on this show. So, I still cannot figure out that question I had for you guys. So
We'll think of a new one, dude.
I'm trying. I can't come up with any other new ones either. Like I'm in a rut right now. And
You don't want to know our favorite colors. You don't want to know our middle names.
Please don't ask any of that.
I would never ask mundane questions like that. I'm trying to get to the heart right now. So, son of a bitch. All right, look, this one's kind of generic, but I'm gonna throw it out there anyways. Kind of got an sort of an answer. Cliff, what are you laughing at?
Just go ask your question.
Okay. So, like, if there's one album of all time that each of you goes to, whether it's for inspiration or just to like shake you out of a rut, which one would it be?
Oh, I got this. Easy.
I
Brand new
got
album,
this.
Paramore.
All right.
Yeah. That I listen to that album at least once a week. That is like my favorite album of all time.
That actually makes a lot of sense because I remember you talking about Paramore a lot. So
Yeah, that's like my favorite band.
Yeah.
I'm a
That
Paramore
makes a lot
stan,
of
and I'm not afraid to say it.
Nothing wrong with
Hey.
that. That's actually a good question, dude. Go ahead,
Who-
Ian. I don't know.
who's got one?
Yeah, my go-to album would probably be Odyssey to the West by Slice the Cake. It's like an hour and 20-minute long masterpiece, and it's got me through some hard times in my life. So
Yeah. Can't ask for anything more.
I'm
What
like
about you, Taylor? You got one?
Yeah, I'm like a traditional 2000s mall emo kid, so I've listened to Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge like countless times. My Chemical Romance.
Oh,
Yeah.
A wonderful album. I don't know. I'd say like, I don't know. I guess like my go-to in that sense would probably be like, "Suck It and See" by the Arctic Monkeys, just because I feel like there's so much inspiration to be pulled from it, just in the sense that it's like got some like softer kind of like indie songs on there with incredible lyrics, and then like some more up-paced, like really hard-hitting riffs. And I mean, like every instrumentalist in that band for me is like inspirational in some degree, including the vocals and lyrics and everything. So that's one that I can always go back to and like find a new thing that I haven't caught before, like pull some new inspiration from, I guess.
Good answer, man. That's yeah, I think everybody has an album like that somewhere in their catalog that they, for the same reasons, it's something like if what's one for me? This is going to be
My
kind of
resume.
typical for anyone who knows me. It's like Broken by Nine Inch Nails. Like that's the one I always go to. And even though it's super short, but it's like there's so much going on that EP that it's like I still notice things to this day that I didn't notice 10 years ago. So yeah, that's definitely mine.
Hell yeah.
Cliff?
Chris, do you have one?
Albums that I can, I listen to. Yeah, I have two actually that I listen to like ridiculously all the way through. I don't even skip songs on them, and that's actually I have three albums, but we'll talk about two of them. So one of them is Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park. Like I could listen to that
Lucky
all
day.
day. And then Americana by The Offspring is the other one I listen to. Like I'll never change any of the songs. I listen to them all the way through. And if I wanted, and my third album that I do listen to all the way through is actually Life of Pablo by Kanye West. Like that just recently got added to the list. But yeah, those are my three albums that whenever I'm like in a mood, I just go through and I just listen to those albums, and I'm just like, by the end of the trip, I'm ready to do whatever I gotta get done.
How
Hell
do you
yeah.
feel about the stuff the Offspring's done in the past like 5 years?
Say that again.
How do you feel about like the most recent Offspring music, like within the past 5 years?
Man, I'll be honest. Like after, let's see, trying to think like the last original Prankster with Redman. Like I stopped listening to Offspring because I was like, I'm just gonna focus on these three albums that they had prior, and I'm
Yeah.
not worried about anything else they do afterwards.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I just stopped listening to them. And like even with Linkin Park, Hybrid Theory, like Reanimation, and I went through Minutes to Midnight and all the other tracks that they had coming out afterwards. Like I just started listening to just like certain songs. I just didn't even listen to whole albums, just because like it didn't have the same feeling up until like the most recent one, right before Chester Bennington passed away, rest in peace.
Yeah.
It was just something for me that I grew attached to, like that last album, obviously for sentimental reasons. But yeah, it's just crazy, man. And it's funny too that you brought up. It's the second time today that I've heard people talk about Paramore, which coincidentally is also my favorite band, by the way. So
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm not even gonna fall like
Hell yeah.
people will see me like I'll be in the back in the dressing room like getting ready for my match that I have going on. Yeah, low key, like I'll be people will thinking I'm listening to like heavy metal rock or like some kind of rap music. No, man, it's like Decode by
Yes.
by Linkin Park.
Yes. Hell yeah.
And people are like, "What do you listen to?" I'm like,
Dude,
"Oh, I just listen
straight
to
up,
like I'll
the
get
two
ready."
songs they did for Twilight were actually fire. Like, I'm not a Twilight guy, but the two songs they did for that movie were amazing.
Bro, you don't even have to explain. Like, I'm not a Twilight guy either, but I own all those soundtracks
Yeah,
because
dude.
they're
Fucking, they
There's-
have Iron and
awesome.
Wine. They have Paramore. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
they have Muse. The
They do?
Twilight soundtracks are all of them are very good. Like,
Yeah.
whatever music she's
Good.
into, like that's good.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I
I'm
really
pretty sure Stephanie Meyer picked the music for all of the movies.
Yeah.
She was the music person,
Mm.
and
Didn't she say? Didn't she write? Well, was she writing a book? That's the songs that she was
Yes.
listening to. Like,
yeah, those were
Yeah.
the songs she was listening to when she was writing. And it's like, well, it really kind of hurts my feelings that I have the same music taste as Stephanie Meyer, but you know what? I'll take it. Whatever.
this conversation continues the proud tradition of Twilight being brought up on the show every time we have guests. So, or why this happens, but it does every
No
time.
matter what, any conversation can be pivoted to Twilight.
It all comes around to
It's
Twilight.
You can't even talk about Batman safely without eventually getting to
I
Twilight.
know,
That's how it goes.
not anymore. So
it's
Oh,
like 7
man.
degrees of Kevin Bacon, but with Twilight.
I
well,
think-
like so we'll tell. We have enough fun story. So we have we had Aaron Shonke of Bat in the Sun. Like he came on our show as a guest,
Hell yeah.
and like it just wrapped. Somehow we wrapped it all the way back around to Twilight. Like it happens all the time, man. It's so ridiculous.
legitimately, yeah. And especially anytime we have Ella on the show, because she's an author, and at some point in every conversation we have, Twilight comes up. I don't know how or why, it just happens. I don't know. It's
You guys
weird.
should just like have some protocol about it. Like like a go-to move to pivot away once it goes back to Twilight. Like just like super blatantly segue into something else anytime Twilight comes up.
Or like do the Pee Wee Herman word of the day. Anytime someone says Twilight, everyone go ah. You know.
That's a dope idea, Cliff. We're gonna have to start doing that for sure.
We're gonna steal that idea. Totally, we're taking that idea. This is definitely gonna be a thing now.
Thanks for that, John.
Yeah, no problem.
That's great. I can't believe we didn't think of that, Cliff.
I know.
So, all right. So this episode, I don't know, how long have we been on, Cliff?
just
an hour?
under an hour, or just a little over an hour.
Over an hour? All right. So yeah, unfortunately, we try and keep these episodes about an hour or so. So we should probably start wrapping up. But look, this has been awesome having you guys on the show, and talking to you guys. Mitch, John, it's good to see you guys again. I miss you guys.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, Ian and Taylor, it's good. Nice to meet you guys and get to know you guys a little bit more. But hopefully
Yeah,
we'll
nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, this is a fun time.
hopefully I'll get to meet you boys in person, and But yeah, so anytime you guys want to come back, do the show again, if you're gonna end up promoting that album, definitely just let me know. We will do whatever we can to get you guys back on the show for sure.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate you having us on. It was a good time. Real quick, I'll just plug the new single is "Disappointing Christmas." It's on everything, anywhere you can find music. And then we are Fathom All The Animals on all social media. So follow us on Facebook, Instagram, whatever.
Anybody who's watching this on YouTube, links to the Fathom All The Animals Spotify will be in the description, as well as a YouTube link over to you guys' channel over there.
Awesome, dude. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so if you guys want to hear more, if you want to see more, it's down in the description below. And so I mean, Mitch, you already sort of plugged the Fathom All The Animals social media, but each individual, if you want to, you don't have to, but if you would like to let anybody out there know where they can follow you, where they can find you on social media, go ahead and do that right now. John, if you want to, we'll start with you.
Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, those are our key places.
Personal.
Oh, personal. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. On Instagram, I need to Momentai. Momentai is the greatest word ever.
It is.
That's all I'm on. I'm not on Twitter. I don't do the Tumblr. I don't do the TikToks. I'm just on Facebook and Instagram. I'm an old lady.
Yeah.
Hey, I understandable, man. But there it is. If you want to follow him on Instagram, you can go ahead. Mitch, what about you?
So I'm not going to plug my Facebook, but Instagram, you can find me at calathea.band, and same with Twitter, and that's just CALATHEA, which is actually like my solo project, but I just kind of go into that alias on all the social media. And then, yeah, that's me. And then also our band, Fathom All The Animals, we've been doing some Twitch live streams every now and then. So
Nice.
I should bring that up. So that's just twitch.com/Fathom All The Animals. And we'll probably be doing another live stream soon. I think we're going to get on the Among Us train for that live stream.
Right on. And if we can, we'll try and link to that as well in the description. So if anybody wants to follow them on Twitch, there you go. Ian, do you have any socials you want to promote, or?
Yeah, man. My solo project is Onus of I. I'm on Facebook, YouTube, and Bandcamp right now. That's ONUSOFI. And yeah, that's all from me.
Nice. And I mean it, man. I'm definitely gonna be checking that out. Taylor, you have anything you wanna plug?
If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is Blyzeffing. That's BLEIZEFFING.
Right on, right on. I'm definitely gonna check that out because I want to see who's been on the show this whole time. So
Yeah, okay.
The man
Taylor's
behind
a
the
very
mask.
beautiful man. Be prepared.
Exactly.
He's a handsome boy.
Yeah.
well, and see, that's just it. I'm intrigued because I thought Mitch was the handsome one, and so
Right?
No,
now I have to find out.
We
So
all wear sunglasses to bask in Taylor's glory.
yeah.
I will do that. Cliff, go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you online.
So you can find me on all social media platforms at _Red Dog, REDDAWG 85. So whether you're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitch, PS4, whatever, just find me there.
Right on. You know what to do, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, Antonio Padilla. You can find me on all social media. It's either at Tron Pilgrim or at Tron Pilgrim 87. You'll know which one it is. And yeah, that's going to do it for us today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again to the boys from Fathom All The Animals. Like I said, everything you need will be in the description below. So go show them all the love.
Thank you, man.
Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
for having us on. It's been really fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Nice meeting you guys.
You too, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, join us next time. Same nerd channel. Good night, folks.